Before I dive into the review, I would like to say I think it's great that Tony Khan is using this week's slate of AEW programming to shine a light on the many, many lives affected by the Maui fires. There are many that have lost their lives. There are many others who are fighting for their lives, and so many others that are just trying to find any remnants, piece their lives back together, and move forward in the best way possible. But the horrific nature of the pictures, the videos, the destruction, it's horrifying, gut-wrenching, gut-punching, heart-wrenching, however you want to say it. It's just absolutely just, I can't even put into any words really how I feel. It is absolutely, I can only imagine what they're going through. And proceeds from these shows will go to the Maui Food Bank. Let's do what we can to donate, send healing thoughts, do everything possible, because through no fault of their own, they lost basically everything, and it's absolutely frightening. And we would want a helping hand if things happened to us and we lost everything. So let's pitch in, let's do what we can. And it's great that Tony Khan, I imagine many of the wrestlers are donating, and hopefully people can move forward in the best way possible, the only way they know how, through grit, determination, and a willingness to just keep on going. But they need help, and hopefully they can get as much help as possible. So that's great by Tony Khan. Now, I'm Jarrett with my review of AEW Dynamite Fight for the Fallen 2023 from Nashville, Tennessee. So, about 4,500, maybe 5,000 people in a 20,000 seat arena. Even if they only use half of it, that's still only basically the lower bowl that's full. That being said, Nashville, quite the wrestling town, rich history and all that. And I do want to say that I'm not going to knock the fact that they had the Texas Chainsaw Massacre video game graphics there for the video game tie-in they no doubt got paid for. I'm not going to fault them for taking the money and doing that in honor and a commitment. But as for this particular episode, how was this episode, since we're just under 2 weeks from All In at Wembley Stadium and we're under 3 weeks away from All Out in Chicago? How was this show? It was fucking terrible. This was fucking goddamn terrible. Outside of a couple things that even were undercut by bullshit that happened before and after, my God. There were a few, things that were set up that made sense. The problem is, I really didn't give a shit about any of the stuff being set up. So, Orange Cassidy against Wheeler Yuta, AEW International Object Championship. And it's like, oh, Wheeler's like, you molded me into the wrestler I am, but now I'm coming for revenge on you. Later, Mox and Claudio show up in the trap pin 1, 2, 3. Those who like Orange Cassidy probably enjoyed this. I pretty much hate Orange Cassidy as a wrestler, and I'm not gonna fucking bother. He won again. Hooray! Watch him beat MJF at Full Gear. Watch it happen. So anyway, then we get a beatdown. Then the best friends show up because apparently they didn't learn a goddamn thing from that parking lot brawl, which was terrible. This is stupid. This feud is stupid. The Lucha Bros show up. They sauntered out. Hey, Penta's thinking, I know you took my mask, but don't worry. I'm going to walk out and ha, ha, ha. And then Eddie Kingston shows up back from Japan and says, well, find two guys and then we're going to have a stadium stampede match. God damn it. They just can't help themselves. I mean, I get it. They can't fucking help themselves. Then we cut to a sit-down interview yesterday at Daly's Place. JR is talking to Omega. I want to say I'm glad that JR seems to be doing better. Hope he's healthy. And Omega can't talk for shit. The editing on, in this particular segment and on most of the show was absolutely terrible. The camera work was goddamn dog shit. Omega talks about all the accolades that he earned and that, he was Uncle Don. And, he gave him vitamins, so he gave a young man drugs. I'm not really surprised that Callis would do that. And I just want to move on. But then they show footage of DDT Pro with Takeshita. And that he is not the god of pro wrestling, even though Callis said he was. Well, I mean, he never was the god of pro wrestling, in my personal opinion. Okada is. A lot of other people would be qualifying to be god of pro wrestling, not Omega. But the adding on this and the fact that Omega can't talk for shit, that sadly wasn't even the worst part of this. Then suddenly, because they're on this amphitheater part, Don Callis shows up. And they act surprised, like, you didn't see him 30 fucking feet away from you? Oh, what the fuck ever. And then White Juice attacked, along with Takeshita. JR just confused, thinking, am I going to be re-signed or can I go home? If I'm not going to fault JR for getting a paycheck, but if they don't re-sign him, I got to say this, he could just do his podcast, he could just do whatever, and he'd probably be better off. He's still good at calling wrestling, but Jesus Christ. Takeshita was here, they beat the shit out of Omega with a board with a nail in it, and cords and shit and whatever, and this is really, really bad. Really bad. And then, as if that wasn't bad enough, Hangman, they cut to Hangman. He's in front of an ambulance. It's still got the lights going. And then there's a parking garage door over there. And apparently this is a hospital. I think that they're just in the arena and they did that. And he's standing there like he's doing either a news report or he's on a bad, reenactment of Rescue 911, drinking a beer, and says, he's my friend, Omega's my friend, and I'm going to team up with him, Ibushi, and it's going to be us against, Jay, Juice, and Takeshita. I mean, that's how you get to the match, that's fine. But then he finishes off the beer because he can't drink at a hospital, even though he's outside the goddamn hospital, and he hands the guy the beer, so they can't even treat that fucking seriously. Good job. Good fucking goddamn. I nearly said, that's it, I don't want to fucking watch this goddamn show, but I was made aware of something that I would really hate. And I thought, you know what, there's got to be something I'll like on this show. That was not in the next match. There wasn't even a match, because it was a segment. Because we went 25 minutes between matches here. They could have put a match, they could have cut this down by a little bit. Here's Callis, a covered picture. Here's Jericho. What's my answer? What's the word? Thunderbird. What's the price? 40 twice. I don't join factions, I create them. But my answer is yes. And Callis is surprised. And then, Jericho's like, I need to get to, become a real bastard and win back the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. And then, what's with the picture? And Callis like, don't worry about it. And it was a picture of Callis holding Jericho's severed head. Like, why is my name on here? They might as well have said that because they were recreating the Festival of Friendship. Only not nearly as good, even though that one was pretty cheesy. And then Callis tries to explain himself. This is bad. Callis calls Jericho, a massive egomaniac. Jericho says, 3 years ago you weren't in wrestling. I brought you back here. No one cared that you were out of wrestling. No one cares now. You're an asshole. Then he hits Jericho with a volley of repeated strokes of the head. Okay, 1. And that's about it for Callis because he was never an athlete. And then Jericho attacks him. And then Takeshita comes out. And then Takeshita gets backed up. But then suddenly, the camera's really, really tight. So somebody's about to come in. And suddenly Will Ospreay shows up and hits him with a chair. Oh no! He busted Jericho open. Or it's fake blood. It's hard to tell. It's really red. Terrible camera work is what I know. The picture to the head. Oh no. Here's Sammy with a bat. Not a moment too late. Watch them do this match next week in a tag match. Watch them do Ospreay and Takeshita against Jericho and Sammy. Or watch them do it after. Watch them do it at the pay-per-view. Watch them do it at All Out, actually. Watch them wait and do it All Out. And a package on Jack Perry. You can call me Mr. Wednesday Night. I'm retiring the FTW Championship. Darby and Nick Wayne then got attacked by the Gates of Agony, Bishop, Khan, and Toa Leona. 25 minutes, by the way, between matches. Swerve's music hits. Him and AR Fox show up, sit on the stage. They beat Nick down. This didn't take very long. It was like 6 minutes. Tag to Darby. Nick Wayne hit Wayne's World, party time, excellent. Then a moonsault while Darby hit the coffin drop, 1, 2, 3. Then Sting's on the screen. Sting! Why wasn't Prince Nana out there? Oh, it's because Sting's got the Joker makeup and he has Prince Nana prisoner. That's a crime. That's a crime. And he's joking around and everything. It's like, oh, well, we're having such a great chat, Nana, and all this. And then Nana runs away easily. And Sting's talking about the coffin match and all this and everything. And I hope it's not as bad as the Last Rites match in TNA. I hope it's not. I really hope it's not. What the fuck was that? Destination X 2007? I think it was. So yeah. Then we get a package on MJF and Cole. They're preparing to face Aussie Open, who are Australian, in case you didn't know by the Aussie Open thing. And they're preparing by going to the Outback. Now, look. I have, liked some of the stupid stuff. I've cringed at some of it. I don't think they need to do this. This was overdoing it. This did not work for me. They ate a lot, and then, wait, if the cuisine's that good, and my God, they got to be superior athletes, but the bloomin' onions, Max, get a hold of yourself. And then there was a thing where they're back in the arena, by the way, now. They're back in the arena, by the way, for this, and this is a logic loophole. Just a little bit later, I just didn't understand. But there was a kangaroo kicking somebody on a picture on the wall. So MJF's seeing these kangaroos kicking each other. He says, "Let's try a kangaroo kick." And Cole's like, "I spent $5.99 on this Crocodile Dundee 1 and 2 DVD." You know, there was a Crocodile 3 movie, Crocodile Dundee in Los Angeles. I worked at the movie theater in town when that came out, and that movie was dog shit. Read up on Paul Hogan. Yeah, just read up on the guy. So anyway, they decide they want to go croc hunting. They want to be like the Aussies. There's a guy with an inflatable. There's a guy near a kiddie pool. There's an inflatable croc, and they hit a double clothesline. The guy falls in the pool, and then somebody yells at them, saying, "I need to talk to you." And it's Tony Khan. And then Tony Khan takes them like they're in the principal's office and yelling at, "You can't just double clothesline everybody, da 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 da." And then he comes out wearing shades and drinking coffee or sniffing the sugar. How up was he for this? Why was Tony Khan involved in this? Why is Tony Khan on camera? He does a lot of good stuff for the fans. I just praise the fact that he is doing a lot for those, affected by the Maui fires. That's great. That's what you do when you got a lot of money. You use a platform. You do the best that you can. He has done good stuff and has signed people and kept people and paid for stuff. He paid for Mark Davis's surgery. Good for him. I'm not knocking that Tony Khan isn't a charitable guy. He should not be an on-screen character. And you can't double clothesline everybody. You can't do this. And then MJF says, "Oh, he's talking to me like that. Wait until 2024. What was that? No, I'm just saying hi, Tony. Great job. So this was all, first they were at Outback, and then they were at this arena. Some arena, somewhere. Or this was earlier today. Or don't know. And then they're driving in a Corvette. MJF is. And Cole. And MJF's got a shit reel bag because they had a bunch of Nashville hot chicken. And then Cole says, "I guess we'll see you after the commercial break." Why don't they just have the fucking credits from Saturday Night Live start rolling? And then Roddy tries to get at him. Still in a neck brace. Did Samoa Joe, what did Samoa Joe do to him? I think even Tyson Kidd was wandering around, or walking around a little bit after a month. And Roddy's like, this. And then he tries to kick the tire, and it hurts his little foot. And the Kingdom checks on him. Put Maria there if you're going to do that. And I like Bennett and Taven. I think they're a good team. And then Cole and MJF come out to a pop. They talk about All In. We're gonna, we're gonna win the tag titles with a kangaroo kick. That did not look like a kangaroo kick at all. Or a double clothesline. And then Cole basically says he's thrilled to be in the main event, that he wasn't sure he would wrestle again. Doctors told him that he has to win more than you can imagine. You need to win this match. And then MJF says, "Your story was good. Mine's better. When I wanted to get into wrestling, I made a list, and there were two people that I wanted to face. Cody Rhodes and Adam Cole, baby." And then how he put $90K on a new Dodge Ram in 2018 because he was busting his ass. I actually saw him at a couple 2018 shows at Defy Northwest in Seattle, because I'm in the Pacific Northwest, just in case you didn't know. And actually, the shows that he was on were right before All In. He mentions how he got on All In. Cody got back to him. He faced Matt Cross, if I recall correctly. Met Matt Cross, too. Interesting guy. Talented. Got to see him face Ultimo Dragon. Moving on, though. How he grew in front of the fans' eyes. All that. This is great. I'm rushing through this, basically, because it's a segment you want to check out. But that he can't wait to be in front of the largest crowd in the history of this sport. And they could get up to 84,000, which will be more than Mania 3 got, because Mania 3 did not get 93,173 people. And that Cole's important to him, but there's only one thing that's super important. That's the Triple B, Triple B, Triple B. That's the championship, and that's it. I'm going to win because no one else on the level of the devil. Aussie Open attacks. And then that gets turned around. They try for the double clothesline. That doesn't work. They try for the kangaroo kick. That doesn't work. So, we then get Strong in the Kingdom backstage. And Strong is ice in his foot because comedy. Roddy is a great wrestler, but comedy is not his thing. Renee is with Jericho. And why was Martina Navratilova doing, doctor work? Is she still alive? I didn't even know that. That's a deep cut, by the way, for sports fans. Jericho, it was either fake blood or he was being unsanitary, not washing it off. He'll face Ospreay. So then, and fucking then. Tables, chairs, Texas Chainsaw Massacre stuff around and all that. I understand it's a video game tie-in. I understand they got to pay off, and I understand all that and everything. And I get it. I get it. I totally get that. I'm going to do what I can to not get banned for what I really want to say about this match and about everybody involved in it. Jeff Hardy comes out in a mask and comes out and then wanders through the crowd and wanders backstage. Okay, bye, Jeff. See you later. And then Jeff Hardy gets attacked by Jeff Jarrett. Jeff Hardy versus Jeff Jarrett, Texas Chainsaw Massacre Deathmatch. Ignoring all that and everything is already tying. It was what it was. Okay. They need to send everybody home for 90 days as punishment. Without pay. I'm sorry. Do something. Whoever came up with the concept of this needs to be reprimanded horribly. Like, to the point that they are crying. This was one of the biggest atrocities I have ever goddamn seen. This was one of the worst motherfucking matches. AEW fans, rightfully so, by the way, and I killed it too. The Army of the Dead, the zombie lumberjack match between Miz and Priest. It was a tie-in to Batista's movie. Army of the Dead, terrible movie, by the way. Zombies. Well, that set wrestling back 30 years, Jericho says. 30 years ago, when Jericho actually was bright, vibrant, and was contributing positively to wrestling. Even 20 years ago when he was. 10, kind of, maybe. And now, what the fuck's he doing? I wonder what he's got to say about this. Because, and I'm sorry, I'm really, really trying hard here to edit myself, but I was embarrassed. I wrote down numerous times, wrestling was a fucking mistake. The cameramen should have walked out in protest. There was red lights all over. The red light special, like TC, not TLC, because the L, went over the White Cliffs of Dover. That's terrible. Let's get back to this match. There was a wall of weapons. Jarrett attacks Hardy. Too many Jeffs, pal. Everybody gets involved. Everybody. Giant Silva Jr. is in overalls for whatever goddamn reason. I don't fucking understand why. I don't know why the fuck he's still there. He's a fucking goddamn idiot. Giant Gonzalez now could wrestle and move better than him. And Giant Gonzalez was confined to a wheelchair for the last years of his life. And has been dead since 2010 or 9. I forget what. Sanjay Dutt, who vastly underappreciated as far as his work in the ring in TNA. No, I don't want to see him anymore. Jay Lethal, as far as the name ring talent's pretty goddamn good. He's fucking washed. Karen, go be a fucking housewife. You are not worthy of being on a goddamn wrestling program. This was an atrocity. A complete goddamn atrocity. One of the worst fucking things that has ever happened on TBS or TNT as far as wrestling. It's worse than Viagra on a pole. It's worse than the San Francisco 49ers match, the Goldmine match, whatever the fuck that was, with the boxes and the championship fell out and they had to hand it to Booker because nobody knew what the fuck they were doing. Worse than Viagra on a pole. Worse than Judy Bagwell on a forklift. This is worse than Ric Flair being buried in a goddamn desert. This was and for what? For who? couldn't you have made this cinematic? I mean, it wouldn't have made it any better, but you would have certainly at least justified the fact that it was completely fucking stupid. But maybe part of the deal was you have a live match here just because. Why was this on a cable wrestling show, I ask? Again, the WWE got killed for the zombie lumberjack match and for other stuff during the pandemic. Shayna being afraid of a goddamn doll and a bunch of other shit. And a lot of other stuff going on in this the pandemic, you can forgive some things. But AEW, to me, at its best, does some great, incredible things. Matches, moments, and all that. And then you go to stuff like this that wasn't even good enough to be on a WCW program when more people were fucking watching. This is the kind of shit that you do when you're ready to be pulled from a goddamn network or your company's about to shut down. And you're just like, fuck it, we'll do whatever the fuck we want. And that's not the case because AEW apparently got a TV renewal. And that's great. I'm glad. More products and more companies mean it's healthier and the business can be healthier. But everyone should be ashamed. Everyone should be arrested for the crimes that they committed against professional wrestling in this. That includes the cameraman. That includes the goddamn referees. And Karen, let me just say right now that Karen Jarrett reminds me exactly of what would happen if you just, if you gave somebody, I don't know, if you took a cocktail waitress and you just say, hey, go out there and act like a stupid twat in the ring, even though you have no discernible talent, you are not worthy of being on a wrestling program, and she doesn't deserve to be there. And quite frankly, I wish somebody would have crowned her. And not because, oh, I want to see this character get beat up. No, because I don't want to fucking see this stupid twat anymore. And she's covered in blood. Well, you probably should have plugged it up, Karen. You should have plugged it up there. Scary carried, and then I blew up the prom. There was a senton at one point. How dare Tony Khan put this on, on his program? A swanton that basically killed both of them. They went through the table. What? Why is Karen here is what I noted. Leatherface showed up. Leather-fucking-face showed up. I don't know who Leatherface was. He went after Karen. Like that would have been the first time she's been split open by another man. And then, by the way, this is worse than the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Netflix movie. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, one of the most overrated horror movies of all time, in my personal opinion. Personal opinion again. And through all that, you're like, okay, Jarrett's bleeding, people are covered in blood and various other fluids. And then a choke slam from the Giant, and Jarrett is pulled on top 1, 2, 3. That was 13 minutes for this. And then Jarrett won a Leatherface championship. So that's what I got to say about that. Then Britt took on the Bunny in a match that was certainly a choice, and Britt won. Britt's going to All In. I hope the Bunny's all right. I know she got injured last time, so hopefully she's all right. All In rundown, recaps of Billy, retiring. The Acclaim do a bit of a rap, and then they get laid out by the House of Black instead of facing two jobbers. The House of Black steal the boots. Suddenly we're going to get boots on a pole match or boots on a ladder match for the boots. Then the Bucks took on the Guns, and the Guns got attacked during their entrance. This was your main event. And then a roll-up with the ropes. After the Guns tried it, the Bucks did it. 1, 2, 3. And then White Juice attack. And then FTR fends them off. And that's it. That's it. That was a cable broadcast that had alleged money put behind it. Didn't have alleged intelligence put behind it. Didn't have anything. Yeah. That Texas Chainsaw Massacre Deathmatch never really caused me to just say that's it. I'm not reviewing Dynamite anymore. In fact, I might even question that after I'm done reviewing All Out. I don't know, because that was embarrassing. Catastrophically embarrassing. I would like to see people defend that. I mean, beyond the video game tie-in. Defend the match as a concept, please. So, agree, disagree, what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm Jarrett. I'll see you soon.